Fine. You know what? Fine. I'll just get back in the goddamn rowboat. Jesus Christ. Yes, it's that time again, and it's time to join Tyrendian 89, my friend from TTT, in his HMS Edinburgh. Now, the music I'm playing in the background is sort of Scottish themed, so that's what I've gone with, because Edinburgh is in Scotland. So I figured I'd put a nice flair on it, and there may be a couple of quotes from a couple of films like Braveheart. Just accept the cheese, guys. Now, the HMS Edinburgh, I've had a quick read, and she was a very busy ship during the Second World War. She was launched in 1938, and effectively went straight into it, got fitted out, and went straight into the war. She was involved in one of the hunts for surface raiders, along with the HMS Hood. Now, this wasn't the one, the Battle of the Denmark Strait, where the HMS Hood got sunk. This was a separate entity entirely. However, she was involved with such actions as that. She did a lot of convoy escorts in the Atlantic and the Arctic Ocean, so convoys going to Murmansk to help out the Russians, the USSR, during World War II. And unfortunately, in 1942, she was sunk by German U-boats and German destroyers. A German U-boat got a good hit on the broadside of the ship and knocked her into pretty bad shape, although her crew was on point and managed to seal the watertight bulkhead, so she actually stayed afloat. She then managed to continue a bit under her own steam. However, she got hit again by a torpedo in the rear, which knocked out all of her steering and sort of power to a certain degree, and she was taken under tow to try and salvage her by another cruiser. Unfortunately, she was hit again in the opposite position to where the first torpedo had hit, and started taking on water heavily, and was only held together by the keel and the deck plates. As she sunk, unfortunately, her crew decided basically to leave her and scuttle her, or try and sink her themselves. She didn't go down without a fight, though. The reason they tried to salvage her so heavily was she was actually carrying 4.5 tons of gold, which weren't recovered until 1981, because we thought that the Russians were going to try and steal it. Now, back into the game, Tyrendian has just started firing his first volleys. He's gone to the sea cap on this map, which is, as you can see, most of the team is doing, which is probably the right thing to do, to be honest. This map, if you go to A, you're fairly open. If you go to B, you're completely trapped. If you go to C, there's a much better fighting. So Tyrendian's established himself on the edge of this area here. He's popped his smoke, and he's going to start firing at the ships. However, the enemy seem to have remembered where he stopped and are putting in some fairly accurate fire, so he's actually taken some reasonable hits already, and he's already used one of his damage repairs. The British cruisers, I think Tyrendian's done the right thing here. They have fantastic damage repair, particularly from the Edinburgh upwards, and he's used it at the right time. You may as well use it early on, because a lot of the time in these you're going to take big penetrations, and particularly when you take citadels. Nice torpedo hit there. You can only repair about, I think it's 10% of the damage taken. Normal penetrations, again, it's a fairly low amount, so you may as well use the repairs while you've got them. Unfortunately, immediately Tyrendian pulls off a Hadders. He's got his hydroacoustic search, but he hasn't deployed it. He probably should have done there. He wouldn't have taken the torpedo hit. So early on, he's taken a lot of damage. He's taken a torpedo hit. His repair party is still under cooldown, so he's actually not able to use it. He's just used it there. So he took a bit of flooding. He's got next to no health. Everything's on cooldown pretty much, so he's sort of buggered. And again, he's only just used his hydroacoustic search now. It looks like it's all over pretty early on. He takes a friendly fire there, but he manages to weave between the torpedoes with an excellent dodge. Now, straight into the action, an enemy ship, I believe it might be a battleship, is right in front of him. Is that an enemy Tirpitz? I think it is. So the enemy ship is staring him in the face, and amazingly one of his team mates wipes it out. Straight back into the action, there's an Otago giving him the beans, but that Otago has deployed rather badly, broadside on, right in front of an Edinburgh, and takes 3 citadels immediately, and then is at 10 penetrations in one salvo. That's one hell of a salvo for Tyrendian, so he manages to bat the Otago off and hide in someone else's smoke here. But it's not over yet. He's just never going to be safe. Another cruiser's coming across. In fact, is that a battleship coming across right in front of him there? And so he's got to try and stem them off. He's taking hits in the broadside there. There's torpedoes. He's popped his own smoke again, and for now, he's managed to hide. Now the battleship in front of him can't quite see him yet because he's not close enough. However, if he gets a little bit closer, he'll probably start proximity detecting him, and so Tyrendian's still got one hell of a fight on his hands. Tyrendian's secondaries are engaging, and they're fantastic on this ship. The battleship gets taken down, and for the first moment in this game, after the first couple of minutes, we have a respite to actually like chill out and chat. So Tyrendian's team have taken the C cap strongly. Neither team has contested B. The enemy team has taken the A cap strongly. So it's fairly even. The enemy team have lost a lot more ships in that foray for this cap. So Tyrendian's team is fairly comfortably winning. But that doesn't mean it's all over yet. You can see by a few of my videos, these games can turn around pretty quickly. So Tyrendian is doing the wise moves in Edinburgh. He's trying, well, he's doing some of them. He's trying to sort of stay safe, or as safe as he can. He's using islands. Oh, he was initially. Then it went a bit brown pants moment, but he's managed to recover it all, and he's in an okay situation here. He has plenty of islands between him and the enemy targets, so he can pick and choose which one he wants to engage. In order to stay safe, he's going to come out behind this island, and I think he's going to attempt to pick off the enemy ships sort of one at a time. So that Donskoy has caught himself out on his own, so he's going to attract a lot of fire to himself. This ship coming around the corner now is also pretty close to a lot of players. Tyrendian just looking at his torpedoes there to see how they're getting on. So the battleship, is it coming around the corner here? God, I wish I could actually read. I should probably get closer to the TV. Let me just... such professional. Here we go. So, a destroyer 3 kilometers around the corner. Tyrendian unfortunately can't sneak up on him anymore because someone put up a spotter plane, and of course spotter planes can see you through islands. Tyrendian's popped his hydroacoustic search there, so he knows exactly what the destroyer is going to do. He fires a nice big volley into the side of him, carries on with the second set of guns, knocks his engine out. The enemy destroyer here is pretty much out on a limb. Even if he does manage to fire torpedoes, he's dead to rights. Unfortunately, it looks like he hasn't got the torpedoes reloaded, because he certainly hasn't popped any off. So Tyrendian ends him, and now has the Donskoy on his flank. Now Donskoy is a pretty dangerous ship. Tyrendian though doesn't seem to be interested in the Donskoy. He's looking at the battleship, the Alabama, in front of him. Although the Alabama's got bigger fish to fry. He's got a hood in front of him, so he gets annihilated. And there's a St. Louis around the corner. The new French, I believe it's Tier 9. Now the Donskoy, amazingly, doesn't seem to have fired at Tyrendian, but then again I've only just noticed Tyrendian isn't spotted, so that's probably got something to do with it. So Tyrendian here, using his stealth capabilities, the Edinburgh can get its stealth down to 9 kilometers. It may even be slightly less than that, but it's solid. It's actually better than the Neptune, which I've just got. The Neptune's, I believe, is 10.1. The Edinburgh's is a lot less, so the Edinburgh is pretty good for hiding. Now I believe Tyrendian here he's going to capture B, and then he's deciding what to do from here, because you can see he's looking at the mini-map. The enemy are right around that corner, and Tyrendian of course does have torpedoes. Unfortunately for the Edinburgh, it only has one set of torpedoes launchers each side. but they're fairly good torpedoes. It's only got 3 per one, but they're good if you get in close engagements. I would personally probably only use them as a last resort or on low health targets, because they just don't quite do enough. If you only get a couple of hits, it's just not good enough, and when you're that close, certainly to battleships, you don't want to die. The Neptune has 2 sets of 4 on each side, so it's actually a bit of a beast when it comes to torpedoes. This Edinburgh, though, again, it has a fairly modest torpedo armament. Now, the St. Louis comes around the corner right in front of Tyrendian. He pops smoke, however, unfortunately he's hydro, so it's sort of pointless, unfortunately. In fact, it might be radared by the New Orleans around the corner. The St. Louis takes a massive hit there, and now it's going to be a bit of a close-range brawl. Torpedoes there from friendlies, but they're quite well aimed, they're not going to hit Tyrendian, and Tyrendian wipes the St. Louis out at point blank range, staying angled to him there. Now the New Orleans is right around the corner again, right in front of Tyrendian, so I think he's thinking, well, let's just go for it, let's get some damage in at the end of the game here. The enemy only have 4 ships left anyway. He smashes him, knocks his engine out, hits him for a citadel, although the New Orleans does hit back pretty hard. Tyrendian here firing what I would call over open sights. He's not even aiming. Now he's aiming, and he's putting big rounds into the centre of the ship there, low on the waterline, and scoring citadels almost every time. The New Orleans can't really do much back, not with his armor piercing that he's firing anyway, and Tyrendian is on 800 health before he wipes the guy out. So it's pretty damn close to death here, and he doesn't even have any heals left. Luckily the Gneisenau on his flank here is not looking at him. His guns are facing completely the other way, although they are starting to traverse. There's a Bismarck chasing the Gneisenau, so the Gneisenau's pretty much had it. He's only got 4,000 health left anyway, and I believe he's about to get sunk any second now, and there we go, he goes down to the Ranger. The Gneisenau does actually get the Bismarck though, to flooding, so I assume he must have hit him with some torpedoes. Tyrendian now going to move into the A-cap. There's only 2 enemy ships left, a Bismarck and a aircraft carrier, and I think it's a Hiryu. They're just to the south, and they're pretty far away. Tyrendian skilled beaching there. They're pretty far away. The Bismarck's about to go down anyway, and it's looking like it's pretty much game over. Now he's going to move into the A-cap and get some extra skill points there. He's going to have a couple of rounds off of the Bismarck. I think he was checking there that his guns weren't pointing at him. His guns are in fact now pointing at him anyway, and he is spotted. For some reason though, the Bismarck more interested in firing at whatever that is behind him. If I saw a target like Tyrendian, I would be trying to finish him off, because hey, a kill is a kill, and it looks slightly better. Bismarck though going to take a run for the border, which is kind of pointless at this time. I mean, they've only got 7 we've got 7 ships left, they've only got 2. One of them's a carrier, and you can see there the carrier planes coming in from the left, all the fighters. The carrier's just going to get wiped out, or his fighters, his strikes certainly aren't going to do anything meaningful. So Tyrendian on the A-cap. He's going to get those extra points. He's already got a solo cap, and he's going to have another solo cap with this one, while he sort of hangs around the edge and sort of stalks the enemy there. Our Ranger sinks to Bismarck, so it is just a Hiryu now versus all these ships, and his strikes are getting obliterated by the fighters to the left of the screen there. So again, that carrier's pretty much had it. There's not much he can really do to affect the battle now, and the points are pretty high, 3 caps, and we're up to just shy of 950 points, and so it's game over within the next 30 seconds regardless. So a really quick flurry at the beginning there, another action-packed scene in the middle, and then the rest of the battle's been fairly mundane, a nice quick battle, really good to watch. You can see there Tyrendian's been doing some serious work. He gets the Hiryu in his sights there, and he fires off a volley. They're probably not going to land before the time runs out, and that's the end of the game.
The Edinburgh wishes to say a word. that? I thought I was gonna fucking die, pal. You kidding? I wanna live.
And there we have it. A good game well played by Tyrendian 89 in his Edinburgh. He did 111,000 damage, or just over. He got 13,400 XP for that game. I'm sure he's probably flying some flags. He came top of the team, as he should have, with 2,558 base experience, which is excellent. 3 kills there, so he did very well for his team. A few plane kills, and of course I think the caps would have carried him up. There's all the damage he did to all the different ships, so you can see he really did spread the love around. He managed to hit quite a few of them, and he took a lot of damage himself. He took 70,000 damage, so he's almost battleshipped it here and tanked for his team. And the final score there, you can see the breakdown of how he got so much experience, all the modifiers there. In fact, he had 3 different sets of modifiers, which is incredible, and the same for Commander XP, which he actually got 28,000 of. So, I've been Hadders. I hope you enjoyed. This marks the return to sort of normal broadcasting, where I'll try and make videos as often as I can, but, you know, I have a job. So that's the end of the competitive tournament at the moment, and we're back into normal videos. I hope you enjoyed. Please suggest anything you think I should change. Something I am going to change soon is I am going to try and get a new microphone, because I want the sound quality to improve of my sexy, docile tones. So, anything else you think I can add or change, please let me know in the comments, and I will see you all soon.